Let's welcome all of you here to the Bahamas. Let me, particularly Dr. David Thomas, the president of Morehouse College, one of my mentor, and I follow you well, Mr. West. I mean, you may not know it, but you have been an inspiration to many of us on this side of the track. Last night I was one of the guests of honor to this Africa Center in Harlem. It's being where the African Export-Import Bank donated $5 million just to ensure that we who are here in the 6th district of the diaspora keep that connection. And that is something that I would ask Morehouse to look at, because I am leading the charge to ensure that Africa connects with us. This year I hosted the African Export Bank annual meeting and a trade show for the Caribbean. We had over 7,000 African billionaires in this country. And just to see us getting together, there's no distinction. We're all here, enjoying ourselves and letting us know who we are. We are going to take our rightful place in this world. It started with us. Remember that. And as I move on in this world, I'm going to do my part to ensure that we take the rightful place that has been lost or taken from us again. But let me say good evening to all of us here. And it is both a privilege and an honor to stand before you this evening at this International Black Men's Empowerment Summit. I extend heartfelt gratitude to Morehouse College, Alumni Association Bahamas Chapter for the kind invitation, and to the entire Morehouse community for their commitment to nurturing young men of color, cultivating leaders who will shape not only their communities, but the world at large. I know it is often said that you can always tell a Morehouse man, but you cannot tell him much. Nonetheless, I hope that for the Morehouse men and others here, my words shared today will prove valuable and hopefully inspiring. This summit, with its theme, Moving Beyond Borders, Building Partnerships of Purpose, captures the essence of what it means to be empowered as men. It speaks to our shared mission, one of breaking down barriers, rising above division, and forging meaningful collaborations that drive progress. This evening, we gather not just as men of color, but as men of purpose. In today's global society, Black men face unique challenges, whether in our personal lives, professional journeys, or the communities we serve. From overcoming institutional biases to breaking the glass ceilings that persist in many spheres, we have navigated these challenges with resilience and dignity. And yet, we understand that true empowerment is not achieved in isolation. It is achieved through the power of unity, shared wisdom, and purposeful partnerships. Morehouse College, through its storied legacy, exemplifies to me these ideals. Morehouse has long stood as a place where young men are equipped with not only the academic tools, but the moral compass necessary to excel. Perhaps no single alumnus represents that Morehouse stands for better than Dr. Martin Luther King himself, who brought a nation and a world together for the causes of equality and justice. He showed the world what it means to be a Morehouse man, a proud and resilient Black man, and a selfless giver to his fellow men and women. There are also great Morehouse men born here in the Bahamas. Some of them have joined us today, and I'm certain that there are many more Bahamian men who will proudly attend and claim the legacy of Morehouse in the near future. In fact, this summit will raise critical funds for a scholarship foundation that will allow young Bahamian men to attend this college. But my brothers, the summit is not just about financial support for educational advancement. It is about ensuring that every black man knows his worth, embraces his potential, and realizes his power. It is about dismantling the physical, financial, cultural, and mental limitations society may place upon us, and creating pathways that allow us to thrive, both as individuals and as a collective. This empowerment is an act of defiance against narratives that seek to diminish us. It is a celebration of our inherent greatness. As we discuss building partnerships of purpose, we must look within ourselves to find the courage to build a new legacy, one where black men everywhere rise to meet the challenges of tomorrow with hope and with strength. I know at Morehouse, there's a saying, over the heads of her students, Morehouse holds a crown that she challenged them to grow tall enough to wear. That commitment to growth, that desire to strive for excellence, and that recognition of the inherent potential of leadership and dignity is exactly what our men need in the 21st century. We must be the fathers, the mentors, the inventors, innovators, and leaders that the next generation needs. Our partnerships must be rooted not just in professional ambitions, but in shared humanity and collective purpose. In closing, I wish to remind each of you, we are more than the borders and the ideals that separate us. We are men bound by common history, a shared struggle, and an unyielding commitment to making the world a better place. I left New York a few hours ago, attending United Nations General Assembly. All world leaders there. I call it a talk show. Because they've been talking for years. They're identifying all the crises and the challenges we have. But despite the meetings, the initiatives, the commitments, and the pledges made, particularly by those who I call in the global north. China, they say it's in the global south, but I treat them as global north as well. Nothing has been happening. For an example, just take they used to call it the existential threat of climate change. It's no longer a threat. It is now a crisis. And what has happened they will be having the 29th leaders meeting come December, late November, in Baku, Azerbaijan. But what is happening? For the first time, the goal set to keep the temperature below 1.5 degrees Celsius has been broken. We have achieved that last year. Not one day, a month, but an entire year. That 1.5 degrees Celsius that was set to be the goal that we must keep the temperature under to avoid the crisis has been surpassed. So where we are now. But it'll take men like us, because my country, for example, we are an ocean state, spread over 100,000 square miles of pristine, tranquil water. You can see it out there. Right? Our landmass, we have 700 islands and keys. 80% of my landmass is less than 3 meters above sea level. So with rising sea level, I'm already standing on grounds that's being swallowed by the seas. And shortly, if nothing happens, my people will become climate refugees and or be doomed to what I call a watery grave. But yet, we who have contributed less to this crisis bear the brunt of the burden. For example, the last hurricane that struck us, called Dorian, a Category 5 hurricane, the loss and damage to my country and my economy was $3.4 billion in a space of 4 days that it passed through my islands. My annual revenue is only about $2.9 billion. So you see. And then what the global north tells me, my country is a high-income country, so I'm not entitled to get any grants. I can't get concessionary loans. They want to issue me green bonds, but that's borrowing monies. So I have to borrow And I'm in this vicious cycle of borrowing to rebuild and recover, increasing and accumulating debt upon debt, distracting needed funds for me to develop my country, uplift my people, provide the social services that they require. And yet still, they sit idly by and continue to talk. Now, I opened Climate Week in New York on Sunday evening. I had some things to say to them. If you just pull it up, you'll see. And I unfortunately ended up in another meeting that I think is a Concordia Association. And I didn't know I was in Trump country. I didn't know amongst such crew. But I had something to say to them too. I don't think they quite like it because I had to remind them again of their responsibility, because I think it's a tort. The emissions that's going out here, we are being hurt for it. And you know, when you think about it, the industrial age, industrial revolution, the wealth of the global north was built on our backs. They pull us across the Middle Passage. We bore the brunt of the sun to ensure that they become wealthy. We help them with the coal, and there's a reverse now. We help them build themselves. They're now hurting us through their emissions. And I'm asking for reparations, because more than 50% of my national debt is directly linked to my expenditure and borrowings for the purposes of recovering and resettling my people after a catastrophic event connected to climate change. It's not a threat. It is a crisis. But my brothers and sisters, I thought I see sisters, I don't, sisters. I just want to just again welcome you to the Bahamas. We are one. Let us continue the fight, because they're not going to give it to us. We have to take it.